So for some time now, we've had the transcript of Trump's call with the president of Ukraine. It is, of course, not actually a transcript, but still damning, even though it's not a word for word counting of what was actually said. But what if we had the actual transcript? What could be there? We're joined once again by Ryan Grimm to break this down. Ryan, welcome back. So here's the thing, Angus King.
Good to still be here.
Good to still have you here. Angus King says that him and his aides, they recreated from the transcript that we have, the call, and say that based on the length that the conversation was supposed to be, it's missing about 20 minutes. And then of course, even in the summary that we have, there's multiple cases, including right around the talk of favors and investigations, of ellipses clearly removing things from the conversation. If we do end up getting the actual transcript, do you have any sort of predictions or expectations of what it might contain?
I mean, something feels off here, kind of in both directions. The claim that 20 minutes is missing to me just doesn't feel right. Like it feels like there are pieces missing, but not multiples of this entire conversation. Like for 20 minutes to be gone, that would mean that this was about a third of the overall conversation. And so maybe they're wrong about that number, like of how long it was, or there was a separate conversation among other officials. It's very hard to imagine where this other 20 minutes comes from. Yet from the other end, if you look at where those ellipses are, they come at moments where it seems like there ought to be more words there.
Yeah.
Like when he's talking about CrowdStrike. Now, on the other hand, if you've ever watched Trump at a rally, which I know you have, his stream of consciousness is just vegetable soup. And so he does end sentences in the middle, jump to a new thought, end that thought halfway through, and then jump to a new thought. That's more common than him actually completing a sentence with a subject and an object. And so because he's such a sunsetting kind of doddering old man, it's hard to know exactly what might be missing from there. And the other point is that we don't necessarily want to fall into a Republican trap and say there must be more, and then the full audio comes out, and then actually there isn't anything more, and this is all there is, because what there is damning, and impeachable. And so in some ways, like the constant grasping for more could end up coming back to backfire, rather than saying, look, what we have here, is enough to convict. On the other hand, they're so corrupt that, Lord, certainly they could have cut some of this stuff out.
Yeah, I don't know that I disagree with anything that you said. I mean, my inclination is to say, I can look back at multiple instances over the past couple of years where transcripts have been manipulated by the White House. Like we have the video on the one hand and then the transcript on the other. But if you were going to edit out the bad stuff, would you have left in, but I want you to do us a favor though? So do you see the inclusion of that sort of thing as strong evidence that, no, this is probably about as bad as it gets?
It might be a little worse. And who knows what ramblingness he talks about in CrowdStrike. And as Trump pointed out, Zelensky is the first in this quote unquote transcript to bring up Giuliani. So either Giuliani was so front of his mind because Giuliani had been pestering him and his associates so much for information on Hunter Biden that he immediately talked about Giuliani, or in those ellipses he talks about Giuliani, and then that's why Zelensky then brings up Giuliani. Either explanation there is extremely damaging, because Giuliani here is the president's bagman, running around doing dirty work for the 2020 campaign by pressuring the Ukrainian president to dig up dirt on his at the time leading Democratic opponent. But like I said, you just can't. It is interesting to be in a place where the White House would release this information, and we can't trust what we're seeing with our own eyes, and that is a real. That's a new kind of place that we've been, and of course it has echoes of Trump's favorite president, Richard Nixon, and the what was it, the 16-minute or 18-minute famous gap that appeared on the Nixon tapes that appeared to be the result of them wiping out extremely incriminating information. And yet what they did ultimately turn over, forced to by the Supreme Court, was extremely damaging to Nixon and drove his impeachment. So you can have both at the same time, turning over evidence that implicates you and also destroying evidence, additional evidence at the same time.
Yeah. We only have about a minute, but I am curious about your opinion. We have this transcript, looks really bad, obviously. I know that there is some interest in trying to get other transcripts of calls with Vladimir Putin, that sort of thing. Do you think that that would be a wise move on the part of the Democrats, or does that potentially set them up for the sort of trap that you were talking about earlier?
I think particularly they should look for the calls with the Saudi royal family. I think going down the Putin rabbit hole again is a mistake just because it conjures up too much Mueller report PTSD among the American public. But I don't think that Democrats have sufficiently explored the corrupt relationship between this White House and the Saudi royal family. And I think that's probably because Democrats have their own corrupt relationship with the Saudi royal family, which is only more reason why Democrats ought to clean up their own act, because they can take such cleaner shots at the corruption on the other side.
Exactly. If this could be the opportunity to finally break that relationship on both sides of the aisle, I think that would be a positive to come out of this. Ryan Grimm, DC Bureau Chief for The Intercept. Thank you as always. Great to have you on.
You got it.
Thank you. Thank you for watching this clip from The Damage Report. For more content from the show and access to TYT Network members-only exclusives, go to tyt.com/Brooke. Wait, no, it's tyt.com/John. Go to tyt.com/John to sign up.